Hello, good evening, everyone. How was your day? And how are you coping with the manual we have given to you? I hope the manual is helping matters now because we have missed some classes now. But I believe that the manual is helping you to cope with the classes we miss. I would like to welcome all of you for today's training. And my name is Ambassador Taure Joshua. I have been your anchor for this training since the beginning of this free professional diploma training in various courses that we have been providing on alternative dispute resolution, peace, sustainable development, conflict management, and several other courses like diversity management and several others that are coming up. Emotional intelligence, we have done that. So today I would like to welcome all of you for today's training, and if you join us, you let us know from where you join us from, your name, where you join us from, and then of course I would like all the participants to also contribute by paraphrasing so that we know where you join us from, and of course to know whether you are following us, and that is what we're talking about here. This training is being provided by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management, and we believe that people are benefiting from it. So I want to welcome all of you. Iletu in the power from Namibia, great woman from which country? I don't know. And then that is Obong Abigail. From which country are you from? Now, I want to know which country. Okay, from Nigeria. Abigail from Nigeria. Obongata. Abigail. Obong Abigail. Thank you very much for taking time to be part of this training. Today we're going to offer this training on YouTube only because I could not get my system ready for Facebook use. So my system was down, so I will just manage to charge this one so that we can be able to do this training using YouTube. So we're going to use YouTube for today's training, and I hope that you are going to participate effectively. If you don't have YouTube, you can download it on your phone so that you can also participate. But by and large, I hope you can hear me. Abdullahi from Nigeria, Dr. Okori, that is Ambassador Dr. Okori. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. So if you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me. Let me know where you're joining us from. Your name, your country. We want to know where you're joining us from. Somebody is asking, is this Didi? What is Didi here? I don't understand. Is it Pop Didi or which one now? Oh, Grace, where you're welcome. Yes, okay, that's good. No, this is not Pop Didi. This is not Pop Didi. This one that you are asking, Didi is on YouTube. I think he must be in prison somewhere, relaxing. Do you understand? So maybe this is the brother of Didi from Nigeria, maybe. All right. I would like to welcome all of you for today's training, and I think we are done with module 1, so we are going to module 2. So we are going to look at Oh my bad. All right, that's so we're going to look at uh, we're going to look at the components of alternative disputes. All right, we have been looking at some ways of resolving conflicts outside of the court. So, and we are looking at the various components of alternative dispute resolution. And so we're going to go into it very, very, very detailed. Do you understand? So we're going to go into the details of the components. We're just looking at the introductory and peripheral aspect of those um, segments. So we're going to look at them very, very in details now. All right. So we in module 2 we're going to look at mediation. Right. We're going to look at mediation. If you join us, do wait to comment, likes, and then also paraphrase what you're understanding, and also you can share as much as possible. All right. So mediation is what we're looking at, the first components of alternative dispute resolution that we're going to look at. We have looked at what alternative dispute resolution is all about. We have briefly tried to look at some components of alternative dispute resolution. We're talking about mediation. We're talking about arbitration. We're talking about negotiation. We talk about reconciliation. Talk about dialogue, and all of those are various components of alternative dispute resolutions. So today I want us to look at it in details. Mediation, and it's our module 2. Our module 2 is mediation, so it's considered mediation alone is taking the whole module. Do you understand? So it's going to cover a lot aspects of mediation. Do you understand? We are going to cover a lot aspect of mediation. So mediation process. So let's look at the various stages of mediation. Like we discussed before, you want to conduct mediation, the first thing you need to do is to get yourself prepared. All right, preparation is key for quality mediation, for effective mediation. All right, so mediation is for mediation to be successful, for mediation to be effective, you must first and foremost get prepared. And in getting prepared, what are you going to do? You are going to involve in selecting a mediator. You are going to gather necessary documents. You are going to also inform all the parties involved about the process. And also each party also must prepare a statement outlining their position. Do you understand? So these are some preparatory aspects of mediation. How to select the mediators, gather necessary documents that you may need in the process, then communicate to the parties involved about the process and what is involved. Then you also allow them to make statements. Do you understand? Parties make statements outlining their position. So after the preparation, the next thing is introduction. The next thing is what? Introduction. So the mediator introduces themselves. All right. So you're going to introduce yourself as a mediator. Tell us your pedigrees. Tell us the role you are to play in the mediation process. And also you have to outline the rules and structure of the mediation sessions. Do you understand? You have to let us know the rules of engagement so that nobody, overstep their boundaries. Do you understand? So you have to tell us the rules governing the process. Do you understand? So at this stage, what you aim to achieve is to establish ground rules and create a safe environment for discussion. The essence is that once you communicate the ground rules, everybody understand it, and it helps in, you know, coordinating and regulating the process so that nobody, get weird and then become something else in a process. Because in the process of communication or in the process of discussion, it's possible that someone may get angry, someone may get hurt, someone may vex, and then, in the process of trying to, and there may be process of revenge or retaliation or something of that nature. Do you understand? So it's practically possible for us to consider, you know, um, to set the ground rules so that all the parties involved will understand the guiding principles in the negotiation, in the mediation process. Do you understand? So when you are done with the introduction, the next thing is opening statements. So each party has the opportunity to present their perspective, say what is your concern, all right, as far as it refers to the issue at hand. All right, so when you are done, another person will do his own, but you are to do this without interrupting anybody. All right, you are not to interrupt anybody. You are to allow each side to express their concerns and interests. Do you understand? You are not to interrupt anyone so far as mediation process is concerned. You are not to interrupt anybody. So far as the person is making his perspective concern, you have to pay attention, listen carefully. When the person is done and it's your turn, you now communicate, express yourself, tell us what you want us to hear. Do you understand? So that is it. So opening statement. The next one is joint discussion. Okay. After the opening statement, the mediator facilitates what? A discussion between the parties. Right? Facilitate a discussion between the parties. The parties, you bring the parties together and allow them to, discuss their issues. This stage may involve clarifying issues, exploring interests, and identifying common ground. Do you understand? So you will need all the parties to state their perspectives. You try to understand if there are mutual concerns, and also you also clarify certain issues as in regarding their opening statement. Do you understand? And then also you determine and detect their interest. What is the interest? What is their concern? What is the reason for the action? Do you understand? So these are the things that we are talking about here. So then we talk about private caucus or private caucuses. So in situation whereby it requires you to meet with the parties individually, you meet with them individually, private. That is, maybe you want to get some certain things from the parties involved, but you don't want to bring them together in the process. You want to hear from them individually. So you have meeting with them individually, and then get them to express themselves freely. You understand? And whatever they express to you, you have to keep with yourself to help you in the process, or except we are permitted, you can share the views of the caucus meeting that you had with any of the parties. Do you understand? So that's why it is. Otherwise, you are to keep what you get from someone privately. That's what it's all about. Then the next one is negotiation. Negotiation. Negotiation is the next one that you're going to use. In the process, the mediator will guide the parties in negotiating possible solutions. Do you understand? So the parties are saying their concerns. So now you guide them and facilitate how they are going to negotiate. to make sure that they get themselves, you know, understanding each other. Do you understand? At this stage, you may involve brainstorming options and assessing the feasibilities. Do you understand? Brainstorming options and assessing the feasibilities. Do you understand? So that's what it is. So closure. So after a negotiation and after reaching agreement, you can, come with the closing process or the closing stage. And in the closing stage, what you're going to do is to draft the agreement being reached by the parties involved, and then you help them to draft it, the terms of the agreement, and you know, and then you have to also summarize the points or the terms they have agreed upon. You understand? So once you summarize and they're okay with it, the draft may be used as a reference point when there is need for that. You understand? The draft can be used as a reference point when the need arises. So that is the closing remark or the closing process or stage. And then you have to follow up like we have said before. You have to follow up to see to it that the agreement being reached is implemented and is being followed up as it contains the agreement being reached in terms of uh, the, the agreement in terms of their positions and interests. Have they been fulfilled? Have they been granted? Or are the expectations being uh, followed or not? So this is what we're talking about here. So let's look at the techniques used in each stage. All right. So when it comes to, we'll talk about the stages that you can follow to conduct mediation. So now, but there are techniques that you're going to use in each of these stage. All right. So when it comes to preparation, right, the preparation stage, what are the techniques are you going to use? Number one is information gathering. Right. You're going to collect information, you know, about the relevant documents or the parties submitted. Do you understand? You are going to collect information about the background of the case and all the documents being shared. That's it. Then you also, at this point, set expectations, communicate the goals of mediation, and clarify the process so that all the parties may know what is expected of them to do in the process. Do you understand? So this is what is being expected. So you will get the parties involved in this process. They will know, they will have the expectation or what is expected of them to do in a process. And then at the introduction stage, the techniques we are going to use here is to introduce to them the ground rules. All right. Yes, you are going to establish the rules for respectful communication and confidentiality. Do you understand? Because the essence of setting the rules is to make sure that whatever that is being discussed is kept confidential, except otherwise permitted, that it should be shared or be referenced to anywhere. Otherwise, you are to get confidential with the information you have received. So these are these are the issues now. So, Dr. Tamba, you're welcome, sir. So, then we'll talk about mediator's role explanation. Right? You have to clarify the mediator's neutral position and purpose in facilitating the discussion. So, your job as a mediator is to facilitate the process. You are not to, detect what the party should say or should do. Do you understand? You are only to guide them. You are only to refresh what they have said, or to, clarify where possible. But you are not to detect the parties what they should say or what they should do. Do you understand? And in case where they are missing out a point, you have to call their attention to a particular thing. Maybe it may be what the law says and they are not aware. So you just call their attention to see what the law says. In case they are failing to reach an agreement on a matter and it seems as if the matter will be taken to court. So you have to call their attention to see that this is what the court says, or what the law says concerning this matter. Should we fail to reach agreement here and you decide to take the matter to court, this is what is expected. Should this case doesn't favor you or does not favor anybody, these are the consequences. Do you understand? We favor one person and disfavor the other person, these are the consequences. Once that is done, then you are sure that you are going to have a great time. Do you understand? So, as a mediator, your job is to facilitate and not to detect. Opening statements. At this point, some of the techniques we're going to use is active listening, right? Because someone is trying to open a communication. Someone is laying his or her complaint, saying his or her perspective. So the good thing and the natural thing to do is to pay attention and listen carefully to what the person is saying, so that you'll be able to follow up. So that even if you are accused, you will know. Even if you are insulted, you will know. All right? So that you will not miss a point in the process. So active listening is a very, very important aspect of mediation. Do you understand? And it's one of the techniques we are going to use when it comes to opening statement, because at this stage, a lot are going to be happy to say. Do you understand? So opening statement has to do with the techniques of active listening. Once a party is speaking, you pay attention, listen to what the person is saying. Do you understand? Without interrupting. It's not when somebody say one, you say two. No, carefully. So when the person is done, you'll be given opportunity to also say your own. Do you understand? So that's why it is. So active listening is one of the techniques you are going to use in opening statement. That's at that stage. And then you're also going to use empathy. You have to validate feelings and concerns expressed by each party to foster a supportive atmosphere. Yeah, you can say something like, I understand how it feels. Do you understand? When you make statement like this, you are validating what the person is saying. Do you understand? Yes, I understand how you feel, or I understand how you felt, but if you can just calm down and express yourself smoothly, it will help us to understand better. Do you understand? So things like this can go a long way to help the process and make the mediation process effective and successful. Are we following? If you are following, let me know. You can like this session, you can comment, paraphrase, because we are using YouTube only today to do this training. Do you understand? So I want to be seeing your comments. I'm not seeing your comments. I'm not seeing your observations. I'm not seeing your. So at the stage of joint discussion, what are the techniques you're going to use? Facilitation techniques. So you use open-ended questions. You ask open-ended questions to encourage conversation and dialogue. Do you understand? So that exploration of issues will give the participant the opportunity to be able to express themselves adequately. Do you understand? So that's why it is. And then we also have reframing. Where possible, you can reframe what a party says. Maybe a party may say something, but it may not be way understood by the other party. So what do? You reframe it to make the party understood what um, a party A to understand what party B was trying to say. And when you finish, you can make statement that I hope this is what you said, so that the person will confirm that this is exactly what I say or no. Do you understand? So that if it is a not, the person will still express himself. But if it's a yes, and then it's an affirmation to what the mediator has said. Do you understand? So it's very important that we must consider this fact. Then at the private caucusing, what you do is confidential dialogue. Do you understand? You create a safe space for parties to discuss, to express themselves. In situations whereby you notice that a party is not being confidential in expressing certain things in a joint discussion, what do? You call them for a private meeting. Come, let's discuss privately. So you separate them and meet them individually, giving them the opportunity to express themselves effectively and smoothly. Do you understand? To say what ordinarily they wouldn't have said when they were together. So you cannot use that. You cannot come and say what they have said in the public, but you may use it. It will help you to leverage on the process and make sure that you come out. You ask thoughtful questions and you receive thoughtful responses from the participants. Do you understand? So it's very important that you do something like that. Private caucusing is very important in the process, and you must, you must be able to call the parties involved individually and have a word with them. Interest exploration help parties identify their underlying interests rather than focusing solely on position. Do you understand? Rather than focusing solely on position, you have to, meet with the parties to, know what is really their interest. So sometimes parties may come into a negotiation or mediation session with different kind of interests and mix up with their position, what they say they want, and what they say they really want, and what they say is their need. So understand their underlying needs so that you can help them to reach a point of agreement. Negotiation, brainstorming, you reason together with the parties, or you allow the parties to reason together, um, agreed on certain things, disagreed on certain things, bring ideas, work together, agreed on the ideas, disagreed on certain ideas, or do you understand? And give them room for adjustment. Just let them brainstorm and come up with thoughtful ideas that will help them to solve their problems. Do you understand? Because they control the process and they should be able to determine the outcome of the process based on their discussion. Do you understand? So that's why you have to give them room to brainstorm in the negotiation stage. Then option evaluation. Like we say, when you're going to a negotiation, you go with alternatives, right? So you're going to evaluate the options available and consider the most relevant and the most useful in the process and deploy it and use it, apply it, and bring out results. Do you understand? So we're going to facilitate the pros and cons of each option so that you will not just choose an option that may not favor the party, or the party may fail in choosing something that will satisfy their desires. Do you understand? Then closure. At the closing stage, what is expected is what we call summarization. That is the technique we're going to use. Summarization, summary. We're going to recap the main points of agreement. What have they agreed upon? You're going to recap it and you're going to document it. That is drafting the agreement, right? Because even after you draft the agreement and state out the terms of the agreement, you are still going to read it in the form of summary for them to understand and agree that the point being raised is what they have agreed upon, is what they themselves have agreed upon. And then once they are satisfied, then the process will come to a close. You understand? And then after you close the session, that's not the end of the issue. You have to follow up. Follow up has to do with check-ins and feedback solicitation. You go about asking to know how far have you gone with what you have agreed on. I hope your other parties cooperating, or how you are cooperating with each other to see that you solve your problem. Do you understand? It's very important to get that feedback, and so it will help you to know that the process is working or is not working, and it will help you to determine what to do next. Do you understand? So the techniques are very, very important. They help to create a constructive environment, facilitate communication, and guide parties towards mutually agreeable solutions. Do you understand? So that's the essence of applying those techniques according to each stage of the process to be able to come up with a lasting solutions to the problem. Then what are the challenges in the mediation process and how do we address them? Power imbalances is one of those challenges. We say that challenge number one is one party may feel intimidated or less confident, leading to an unequal negotiation. So when the parties weigh different powers and the powers may not seem to be equal, then there are issues of intimidation, there are issues of oppression and all of that. Do you understand? And it becomes a challenge. You understand? Addressing it, the mediator can ensure that each party has an equal opportunity to speak and may use techniques such as private caucus. Yes, if you know that if you discuss this matter, maybe because of one's influence, another party may not be able to express himself or herself effectively, you can meet with them privately and have a word with them. But by and large, you are to give each of parties equal opportunity to contribute or to say their points, express themselves regardless of who and who is involved. And they understand regardless of who and who is involved. So we need to do something like that. Emotional tensions is also another challenge of mediation process. Emotional tension. The challenge is that strong emotions can cloud or be cloud a good sense of reasoning or judgment and hinder constructive dialogue. Right? When people have closed mind or have a tense mindset, you understand, they lack the composure to engage in effective communication and dialogue, and of course, it hinders, you know, a constructive dialogue or engagement. Do you understand? It's very, very important to understand that point. They're also talking about addressing it. That is, the mediation can acknowledge emotions, encourage parties to express feelings, and use techniques to de-escalate tensions, such as active listening and empathy. So, how do you address the issue of emotional tensions? Because we told you that when it comes to mediation process or when it comes to resolving conflict, sometimes parties are they are being carried away by their emotional, you know, challenges, emotional, uh, you know, someone can just get angry easily, some get irritated, some get, annoyed, paranoid, and so it's affect the process. You understand? So for you to address some of these emotional impulses, you are going to, um, encourage parties to express themselves without anger. All right. You can use this also de-escalate tension. Let the parties know that this thing, you have to cooperate with one another, listen to each other, and then let go the issue so that you can be able to express yourself effectively. Then communication barriers. Communication barriers is also another um, mediation process challenge, or a challenge confronting mediation process, because one of the challenges of conflict itself is poor communication. Lack of proper communication is 99% of the causes of conflict. Do you understand? It constitutes one of the most difficult, or the contributing factor to conflict when communication is not done properly. So when communication is not done properly, there are tendencies of misunderstanding, and misunderstanding can cause a lot of problems. Do you understand? So that's why it is. So how do you address the issue of communication barriers? You know, because we understand that it can lead to frustration. Lack of proper communication can lead to frustration. And so how to address this issue? You're going to facilitate clear communication by summarizing points made and asking clarifying questions to ensure all parties understand each other, because it's very very important. Sometimes someone will make a statement, they may intend something, but someone understand it from a different perspective. You understand? Because we understand things differently. We may be pursuing the same goal, but our understanding is not the same thing. We don't have the same understanding. Do you understand? We have individual differences. So that's it. So for you, you must to ensure that proper communication is being done. Ask thoughtful questions and elicit, you know, answers. All right. Resistance to compromise is also another challenge. Where parties are not willing to compromise, to let go certain things, to have what something is also a challenge. Do you understand? So parties may be unwilling to adjust their position, unwilling to, you know, give up certain things to accept certain things. Do you understand? So that's why it is. So the mediator can help identify underlying interest and encourage brainstorming of creative solutions that meet the needs of both parties. So it's a situation whereby you come to this stage, you have to encourage the parties involved to try to adjust their position so that you can move forward. Most times negotiation process or mediation process are being stopped. Do you understand? Because someone is not willing to cooperate, it's not willing to compromise, it's not willing to adjust position. And once you cannot do that, it becomes a problem. Do you understand? So lack of preparation. Challenge here is that parties may arrive unprepared, which can stall the process. Going to a negotiation process or mediation process, go prepared. You understand? So whatever they ask you, whatever document they require, you are able to present it. Like get to a mediation process and they ask you something of a particular item and you don't have, it looks somehow. Do you understand? It can also cause the process to be delayed and takes longer time. Are we following? If you are following, let me know, because I noticed that you people on YouTube you're not commenting, you're not paraphrasing. I don't even know whether you are sharing the meeting at all. But before we proceed, I'd like to inform you and remind you once again that the International Day of Peace is coming up next week, and actually it falls on Sunday, which is 21st of September. So, but like I said before, any activity you do for peace from Monday to that Sunday, it will be counted as for the International Day of Peace. Do you understand? We are also working assiduously to make sure that we reach out to people, to students, and distribute a SAS book The work is ongoing, very, very fast. And we also want you to also be a part of the process. Don't just be a receiving person, you also give. Do you understand? As you are receiving knowledge here for free, give so that your giving can reach out to others. Let others also benefit you directly or indirectly. Do you understand? Because whatever book you are able to sponsor, even if it's one, and we give it to a person, they are going to do massive exploit. Do you understand? So you're going to benefit those students really good, and it will change their mindset as well. So limited authorities or parties is also another challenge on mediation. Challenges or a challenge that you know try to also undermine the authorities or the party. It's also a challenge. Do you understand? Parties may also lack the authority to make decisions which can hinder the process. So when you don't have the authority to make decision, it can affect the process. And of course, in mediation, the mediator has no power. Do you understand? The mediator has no power. He has the power to facilitate, but not to make a final decision. Unrealistic expectation is also another challenge of mediation, right? When you have expectations that are so enormous, getting them accomplished, getting them realized becomes a challenge. So you have to be moderate in your expectations. What you expect of the process, do you understand? It's going to be very, very, very challenging. It's going to be very, very challenging. So cultural differences. Cultural differences is also another challenge. We come from different societies, different cultures, and we have different expectations, different cultural backgrounds, different cultural experiences, and this can affect the mediation process. Do you understand? It can affect the mediation process. So it's left for you to understand mediator. The mediator must understand what is involved for him to be able to, you know, um, follow the process through. All right. Then flexibility, or rather inflexibility. Challenge is that parties may be rigid in their demands and unwilling to consider alternatives. Something like inability to compromise. Something like I cannot change my position. My position is final, and is what I want that will be achieved. So that kind of mentality can cause a lot of problems. Do you understand? So you have to address it. Follow through issues. Follow through issues. After reaching agreement, parties may struggle to implement it. So, but you have to follow them up so that they can uh, follow with the implementation. Let them implement what they agreed upon, so that they will be able to achieve that which is expected of them. So that's the much we're going to cover for today. We will continue tomorrow. No, next tomorrow. Next tomorrow, I'm going to continue on Thursday. Next tomorrow with the mediation skills, and then we'll continue until by next week. I think we should be done with the training by God's grace, according to your manual. So thank you very much. I hope you have your manual. You can be going through it, and then if there's any question you want to ask from the manual, you let me know as time goes on. Yes, cultural differences is something that needs to be given attention, because we are individuals from different backgrounds, and there are certain actions that people take that you may look at it from your own perspectives. You may look somehow, but in their own perspective, it's okay. Do you understand? And that's some of the reason why we have problems because we try to undermine people's culture. Do you understand? And it affects the process of mediation. So, but if you understand someone's background, where they are coming from, and what they believe in, it's going to go a long way to help. So, thank you very much. I'll see you on Thursday as we continue with the training. Bye bye.